Atari, GameCube, SNES. What was your favourite? What a history of game consoles we've had. Some of you may remember them, some of you may not, but I'm actually here to tell you about how these consoles captivated our hearts with its brilliance. We start in the 1980s with the groundbreaking console of the Atari 5200, which some of you actually may remember, with its annoying joystick and sometimes its trackball. But then later, its successor, the Atari 7800, followed in the same footsteps as the 5200, with its joystick being really stiff, which did cause problems for games and gamers alike. Now we move on to the most memorable consoles of childhood, well, that is the NES and the SNES, which actually became the most recognisable game console, and its controllers took the first steps into modern game controllers. But it was most popular thanks to the groundbreaking games of the Super Mario franchise. That is what made the NES and the SNES a household name. Now we move on to the most immense console war of the 1990s between Sega and Nintendo, and everyone was battling for what console was better.
The Sega Mega Drive sticks out for me just because, the Sega Dreamcast, sorry, just because it was the first console I ever got my hands on.
But obviously, it was highlighted so much for each console's mascot, Mario and Sonic. Who do you choose? Now we move into the new millennium, which means new brilliance in consoles, beginning with the introduction of the PlayStation 1, also known as the PlayStation X. The late teens and early adults might have golden memories of this lovely little machine. I wonder how many of you can remember Crash Bandicoot or Final Fantasy VII.
Quickly! Into the vortex! But Dr. Cortex, the vortex is not ready. We have no idea what it could do. Failure again. Capture him!
Later came along the first Xbox, which did introduce online multiplayer. Another classic is the PlayStation 2. Now I'm wondering if most families did actually own this console, whether it was your first or it wasn't. But obviously, it was a groundbreaking console and actually is known to be the best game console of all time, selling over 155 million units over worldwide during its 13 years of availability from 2000 to 2013. Then later Xbox 360 came along, and I fully loved Xbox 360. It actually was one of my favourite consoles as a kid, not as well as the PlayStation 2. And surprisingly, the biggest selling game for the Xbox 360 is actually Kinect Adventures. But obviously, then later came the PlayStation 3, and obviously, to me, it didn't live up the expectations as it did for PlayStation 2.
Favourite console of all time? Probably either the PS2 or the PS3.
That's a tough question. The one I probably got the most use out of ever was the PlayStation 2.
Now we move on to the massive powerhouses of modern day gaming. The brutal Xbox One and the smooth PlayStation 4. And this had all the controversy back in 2013. But I'm guessing the game consoles still have a rivalry today. But what do you choose? The older consoles are coming back in a big way, such as the released mini Nintendo Entertainment System, which became so popular it actually sold out. Unfortunately, they're not going to be making it anymore. But apparently we have been told more old consoles are coming back.
I seem to look at games as, graphics and, the technical sides of that, but if a game's good, then it's going to be good whether it was made a long time ago or it was made today. So, there's definitely old games that are still worth going back and playing, and even the younger generation that have only had, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, then you're missing out on a whole bunch of games from the past that are well worth going back and trying. And